Guys, welcome to part 4 of our video series called or titled How to Make $1,000 per Month with Digital Real Estate. This is part 4, and today we're going to be talking about getting a business owner on the hook. And what I mean by that is getting a business owner that's willing to basically have a conversation about working with you. But before we do that, we're actually going to give them a couple of free leads. In previous videos, we've talked about the first 3 steps, which is let's just have it real quick. Francesca, step 1 is what?
Building your list.
Nope. I caught her. Step 1, picking your city and niche. You skipped ahead. You're good. Step 2.
Due diligence, right?
Yeah, step 1 is due diligence, which is picking your city niche. We did that in part 1. Part 2 was what Francesca just said, which is
Yes.
building your list.
Building a list of prospects. Yes.
Exactly. Step 3, Francesca, tell us.
Building the one pager and setting up ads on it.
Yep. So getting leads. We have to get leads that we can use to go and get a deal, right? And so in the last video, we did our last part 3, we talked about getting leads today instead of waiting 6 months. Today, we're going to be talking about using those leads to go and get a deal. By the way, if this is the first video you've ever watched, welcome to our channel. Francesca, tell us in 20 words or less, what is digital real estate for somebody that doesn't know?
Yeah. So think about real estate maybe and being a landlord of multiple condos and houses. So we're doing the same thing, but with websites instead that you're then going to rent out.
Amazing. Instead of building houses, we build websites. Instead of getting tenants that want to rent from us, we get business owners that want leads. And instead of giving them a place to live, we're giving them business. That's it. Very simple. We build websites. We get traffic, AKA phone calls. We take the phone calls. We sell them to a local business owner. We rent out the websites. And then we have these little cash machines. I look at them as like minions. If you guys have ever seen Despicable Me, they're like these little minions that are out in the interwebs just going to work while we're in Vegas, while we're golfing, while we're traveling, we're walking our dog, whatever it is. These things are going to work for us. They're these little money making machines, and we can build as many as we want. So that's the business model. My name's Nick Wood. This is Francesca. We've been doing this for a long time. In 2020, we scaled this business model up to $100,000 per month in July of 2020. We ended up doing our first 7 figures in a single year that year. We did it again in 2021. And at the end of 2021, we started teaching people how to do the same thing. That is our program, Digital Landlords. And Francesca is on here with me today because in this video series, if you haven't watched any of the previous ones, I explained that I'm going to have Francesca is going to be the one doing this process. We have videos that you guys have seen where me and Francesca are cold calling. I've done this a million times. And Francesca is now the one that does this the most. So we wanted to have her come on, share, her tips, tricks, strategies, etc. So Francesca, let's talk about hooking a business owner. So we did the one pager, we ran some ads, and now we got to go get a business owner. We're going to take our list and we're going to go get a business owner. What? Give us some tips. Give us a little bit of an overview and give us some tips for those that do not know where to start.
Yeah. So keep in mind, you build that site. You have the ads running, so things get exciting. You have some leads coming through. That's when you start calling those business owners. So the nice thing is that you're going to have the list already set up because we did it in step 2. And all you have to do is just call them. By the way, we do have a system on how we prepare the list. It's not just a random business owner. It's usually people that are already paying for something similar. So you already know that they have the budget. They're wanting to grow, all of that. And all you do is you start calling, whichever looks best. Sometimes I just pick it by their first name. It doesn't really matter. And you call them. And you want me to say what I say to them?
Yeah, I mean, so yes, I do want to cover one thing really quick. Guys, you are going to have to pick up the phone. I don't think a lot of people like to hear that. And if you're looking for hey, how do I do this without being uncomfortable, without talking to anybody? Can you text a million people? Sure. Can you send DMs? Yeah. Can you go to Instagram and send DMs? Sure. But at the end of the day, guys, if you do the thing that no one's willing to do, you're going to get a quicker result, right? And it is scary. If you've never done it before, picking up this thing right here, for some reason, this is the most terrifying thing when you've never done it. But I just want to let everybody know you are going to have to get a little uncomfortable. You're going to have to pick up the phone. You're going to have to just make a phone call. But when we talk, we're going to talk about this here in just a second. It is not near as intimidating as you think it is because you're calling to give them a free lead. You're not calling to ask them for money. We're calling to offer them a free lead of our service before we ever ask them for money. So yeah, Francesca, we don't need to get into like the exact script or anything. That's stuff that we cover, inside of Digital Landlords. But talk about like the first time that you called, like what are some tips to actually like getting your mind around picking up the phone? I remember when Francesca started, she would do everything, get all prepped, and then she'd want to be like at her house, kind of in her own little safe space so no one could hear her. And guys, the first time you make these calls, it's going to be a little embarrassing. You're going to say some stupid stuff. You're going to feel it's a little bit going to be pretty cringe. I still do that stuff and I don't really care, but it can be intimidating. So how do you get over that fear of just making that phone call?
I think prepping a little bit beforehand, like I still do like some role playing and kind of repeat what I'm going to say or have it written down helps because nobody's going to see you. You're on the phone. And then also thinking, okay, you're not just calling one business owner and that's all you got. You're going to have multiple business owners if that one goes wrong. So keep that in mind. And then, like you said, I think the main thing that helped me is realizing like you're not calling them and asking them for money. You're not asking them for anything. And you're going to notice when you're calling them that they're usually saying, well, what do you want? Like, what do you want in return? So you're giving them free jobs. Like there's nothing wrong that you're doing. You're giving them a favor.
Yeah, it's true. You just have to frame it like that. It's like no matter what business you're currently in, right? Let's say you own an engineering firm, right? And for you to get more business, you have to get more people that are interested in getting designs or whatever, right? If I called you out of nowhere and I said, "Hey, I have this service, I can get you more jobs. Do you want to talk about it?" You'd be like, "Nah, that sounds pretty sketchy." But if I called you and I was like, "Hey, I have a guy right now that he wants a design. He lives at this address. This is what he's looking to get. He wants a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house, blah, 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 blah. Can you design it for him? I'm not going to charge you anything. It's absolutely free. He just needs a proposal. Would you do it?" That you're going to be so much more receptive to me in that conversation than, "Hey, I want to give you my secret sauce magic formula for getting more customers. Sign here," right? So let's talk really, just give us the brief, not the word for word, but like in a nutshell, what do you say to these business owners? Like what is the proposal that you're making for these business owners and why would they even listen to you?
Yeah. And you want to keep it vague, but also not lying because most of the time they're going to say, like you said, you're going to say, hey, this is Nick, this is Francesca. I have this guy in St. George that's wanting new gutters installed for their homes.
Right.
How booked out are you? Are you available? You also want to know kind of where they're at business wise. So where you're doing the hook kind of gives you also power to kind of see, do you even want to work with this company to begin with? And then, yeah, you just they're going to be like, well, who are you? And then I usually say, well, this is who I am. I don't personally do this kind of job. So I'm looking for someone else to partner up that could potentially take them. And you keep it simple. I've noticed that when you start blabbering and you get nervous, that's when you start oversharing and you spook them. If you overshare, you spook them. So you want to keep it simple but honest.
We're not trying to sell them on this call, guys. You're trying to just get them to take a couple free leads, and your leads are going to do the work for you. Your leads, if they're good, which if you're doing it the proper way, you're running the right ads, et cetera, they're going to be good leads. They're going to be exclusively just sending these to multiple people, which I don't like to send them to multiple people. They are going to be good leads, and the leads are going to do the heavy lifting. They're going to speak volumes. So you just kind of have to get out of the way. You're just guiding them through the process, and that's what you have to remember. So just don't accidentally try to sell this on the first call. And they start asking a bunch of questions, be like, "Oh, let's not put the cart before the horse here. Let's not put the cart before the horse. Let's pump the brakes, buddy." Right? I just want to get you a couple of jobs. I don't even know if I want to work with you yet. Like you kind of have that attitude. So here's what I want to talk about. Hold on, Francesca, I'm going to say this. I got somebody at my door really quick. Tell them what's been happening with this specific deal. And I want you to be completely honest because this is the real truth. Tell them how it's gone. Francesca has tried and has been working. I'm not touching this. I'm not helping her. She's doing. So let's talk about how your results have been with this specific example, which we're doing a concrete example. We're not showing you the city because we know somebody's going to go mess it up. As soon as we get the deal, we're going to show you the city. Francesca, let's talk about how your hook of the business owner is gone. Step 4. How is your step 4 gone? Go, let me talk to this person.
Yeah, it's going a little hard. Usually, I would say if you're following every step, you hook one business owner and you should be fine. Very rarely you're going to get to a point that you need a second hook. And for this specific location, I am on my third hook because I went after a place, and I don't know if that's necessarily why, but I went after a place where most of the people do not speak English. It's mostly Spanish oriented. And I'm definitely struggling a little bit.
That and the reason we were talking about this earlier, and I wanted Francesca to share that she has done. She's called her first person. She already hooked one person, sent them a couple leads. We lost them. She did it again. We lost them. So we're on number 3, and I want you guys to know this because I want you guys to understand that it does sometimes take 3, 4, 5 attempts. Sometimes, Francesca, we call the first person, we send them 2, 3 leads, we're on the phone, boom, 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 we close the deal, and it's like, oh, this is the easiest thing in the world. Other times, like with this specific example, we're getting a lot of leads from our one pager and our ads, and we're hooking business owners, but we're just, for whatever reason, we think that's, there's combination. There's probably a lot of leads in the area, probably a lot of work. There's, that little bit of that language barrier. There's a lot of Spanish instead of English. So Francesca's calling and they're whatever. And it just is what it is. And sometimes you have to go through 2, 3. Sometimes we go through 5 business owners. We don't get the deal. We pause it. We come back to it a month later. And that's just what happens. And we just want to be real and not try to pretend that like we're perfect at this. And so, yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. So Francesca, this specific one that we have hooked right now, what were they on Home Advisor? Were they on Angie's List? What were they on?
Yeah, one is Angie's List, the other one is Home Advisor. And the first one I hooked, I actually was one that kind of broke it off, thinking, I don't know, like this guy, because he's being very slow at answering him, and I think I can do better. But
And now you're like, man, I maybe should have stayed with that guy.
yes and no, because at the same
I
time,
don't think that's I don't think it's the wrong move, because at the end of the day, we're the ones that have what they need. They need what we have more than we need what they have. They have money, but everyone has money, and everyone's money spends the same. We have exclusive piping hot leads, like that are exclusive, that are going to run their business and drive their business. And if they don't work with us, they can't go to the next guy. There's not a next guy, right? In 99% of the situations. So we are the ones that have the control. So I actually like that move. That's a power move. And I like it where it's like, hey, they're being slow. I'm gonna move on, because that just goes to show them it's like, hey, we're not messing around. And I bet you if you ended up circling back around, you probably could have a conversation with them. But let's see how this one goes. So this one right here is what, Angie's or Home Advisor?
this very last one is Angie's.
And what we mean by that, guys, is back to part 2 of these videos. We talked about building your list. We like to put people on our list that are paying for Home Advisor, Angie's List, Google Ads, etc., because that means they're already paying for leads, which means they're already sold on the idea of buying leads. We just have to convince them that ours are better, and it's a better spend of money, or it's a good spend of additional money. So real quick, last thing, how many leads have we sent this person?
This very last one?
Or have we just hooked them? We haven't actually sent them any.
We just hooked him today.
Oh, that's good. It's a good thing you hooked them today, because imagine we got on here and you had to say you lost 2 people. So she's got this guy hooked. We're gonna send them between 1 and 5 leads, and we're gonna talk more about that in the next video, how many leads to send, whatever. But if you guys have questions for this specific step, go ahead and drop them in the comments. But one thing I just want to reiterate again is you are going to have to pick up the phone. You are going to have to get a little bit uncomfortable, and you are going to have a conversation. But you have to remember that it's better than being broke, right? It's scary. It is scary. And I promise you, I've done cold calls where I had to hype myself up. I've done cold calls where I was sick to my stomach. I was so nervous. But at the end of the day, I'll go through that discomfort rather than being broke, than not having money, than not, providing the life for me, my family that I wanted to not being able to achieve the things that I want to achieve and go and see the place I want to see. So if you guys are getting nervous with that, we do have some videos on cold calling best practices some examples on cold calling that you guys can search there. Maybe we can put them in the description as well. But Francesca, thank you for your advice. Thank you for your feedback. And on our next video, well, we can't really do our next video until we go to the next step. So Francesca, let's get this, just pipe some leads into this guy and let's go close the deal. Sound good?
Yes.
Okay, guys, thank you.